Hi everyone. We're going to use even odd properties to find the exact value of each trig expression. This is helpful whether you get to use your circle or graphs or whether you have to have this memorized. So basically these four here, these four trig functions or trig ratios are odd. These two here, cosine and secant, are even. And let me show you why. Let's do the even ones first. So when I have cosine, say, of 30, if I have cosine of 30, that's right here, right? And we already know that's root 3, square root of 3 over 2, comma 1/2. All right, so this would be 30 degrees here. Now, cosine is x, so the value would be root 3 over 2. Now, if I say negative 30, that means I'm going clockwise on my graph. And my x is still positive, because cosine is positive in quadrant 1 and 4. Negative 1/2. All right? So basically that's why these are even. And what's useful is instead of trying to find the value by going clockwise, you can just use these tricks and makes finding exact values a lot easier. These, the odd ones are sine, cosecant, tan, and cotan. That's because they're the y and the y over x or x over y. So, for example, if I do the same thing, I'll do my 30 degrees. I'll do, and of course I can't draw on here. So this is 30 degrees. Let me do it that way. That's 30 degrees. And this value for would be square root of 3 over 2, comma positive 1/2. But if I do negative 30, I come down here, and so that means I'm going counterclockwise for my 30 degrees, or clockwise. Then this point here is the x is still positive like it was here, but my y is negative. And of course you can do it that way and get your value. But these become very useful when graphing and also when you start your trig identities. So we're just going to go through and do these. You can use your circle, or if you have a chart, or maybe you can try to do it through memorization. Okay. So the first one we have is sine. Sine, we need to know that that's odd. That's an odd property, so I can pull out the negative and call that sine of 60 degrees. Now, it's very easy to know that sine of 60 degrees is square root of 3 over 2. Then we have the negative, so that's negative square root of 3 over 2. Whereas cosine of 30 is an even function, and basically what that means is I can just take away the negative, and this is going to be cosine of 30 degrees. Cosine of 30 degrees is going to be square root of 3 over 2. Just like I showed you on the previous slide. All right? Now both of these, tan of negative 30 and sine of negative 135 are odd properties. Or odd functions. So I'm going to write tan of 30, negative tan of 30. I'm just pulling out the negative. So now I'm not having to go backwards or clockwise on my unit circle. I can just look for where tan is, what is tan of 30 degrees. And tan of 30 degrees is square root of 3 over 3. Put the negative in front, so that equals negative square root of 3 over 3. Same thing for sine. Sine of 135 is square root of 2 over 2. So the answer is negative square root of 2 over 2. Okay. Secant and cosine are the only even properties. So both of these are even. I'm just going to change them to plus. These are the easier ones. And then these two I'm going to pull out. Cosecant, I'm going to pull out the negative. Pull out the negative for sine. And then I'm just going to evaluate secant of 60 equals 2. Cosine of 270 equals 0. Negative, and I have a negative here. So cosecant of 30 is 2. So the answer would be negative 2. Sine of 90 is 1. So this would equal negative 1. Okay. Okay, this is even. This is the only even. Cosine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. The rest of these, I'm going to pull out the negative because all of these are odd. So we have negative tan of pi over 4, negative sine of pi, and negative sine of pi over 3. So tan of pi over 4 is 1, so that's going to be negative 1. Sine of pi is 0, so that's just going to be 0. And sine of pi over 3 is root 3 over 2, square root of 3 over 2, which equals negative square root of 3 over 2. Makes it a lot easier when you can do this. All right? The last one, we only have one even here, which is the secant one. The rest are odd, so I'm going to pull out the negative. And then just evaluate. So for tan of negative pi, we have tan of pi is 0. So that's just going to be 0. Sine of 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. And 2 negatives will make positive, so that's 1. And cosecant of pi over 4 is root 2. So negative square root of 2. And secant of pi over 6, that's going to be positive, just equals 2 square root of 3 over 3. And that's all. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.